do that. So they could all get
Oh,
big
you realtors,
shit,
all you
but-
guys watching.
Sneaky.
It's illegal.
But you know what it is? It's too much of that. Talking about personal brand here, I'll get a little energetic here.
Please.
It's too much of the personal brand and not enough about the fucking listing.
Guys, we got some really nice cigars here, courtesy of Nick.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Courtesy of the humidor.
Courtesy of the humidor. Where do we go to get these cigars, Nick?
These ones are from Casa del Humidor up north.
Up north. Shout out. Big shout out. Tyler, we heard you're a little bit of a connoisseur yourself.
I wouldn't go that far.
No?
One guy on my team, Vince, he's a big connoisseur. He's a big cigar guy. I requested his help when I was buying them for my wedding. I requested his help to come out, and he met me in Yorkville, and he picked a few out for me and the groomsmen. So
Yeah.
thanks, Vince. I appreciate you.
You know, there's a lot that goes into the whole cigar smoking experience. Actually, yeah, you can. Here, send him a letter here.
Here, let's lightly with a little stick.
We're doing it the traditional way.
Isn't that fun? What does
There you
that
go.
do? Does that do something to the taste or something to the,
so keep
the
Yeah.
effect? here?
nice.
See, I'm not that much of a connoisseur. I enjoy them, but
So a lot of the mistake a lot of people make is they use like a butane lighter to light it, and
Yeah,
really,
guys, we're using one, but we're using the shtick.
a lot of people say that it might taint the flavor. So and there's a lot, as I was saying, there's a lot that goes into smoking a cigar that a lot of people might not know about. They just see us smoking, some tobacco, but really, it's the whole process. It's the picking out the right cigar for you. It's the right shape, the
Right flavor profile.
right flavor profile.
they're beautiful. I enjoy them. I
Very-
enjoy them on the golf course a lot because you have the time. The biggest thing is like the time to actually
Yeah.
enjoy.
100%. There's a
whole
lot of guys
thing,
who rush it,
right?
Exactly.
and you got to enjoy it.
Well, that's it. You got
it's
to
like
enjoy
wine.
it. But that's just, it's such a cool, manly, relaxing
100%.
thing to do, right?
And it
It's
really-
just scotch, cigars, whatever. You sit back, relax, take a moment for yourself.
You got to
That's what's
savor it.
important.
That's the key.
You got to
because,
savor it.
And it's really
Forces you to, right?
Yeah.
Because of the length of time and you appreciate it. It's just
100%.
exactly
Especially with
that.
everything going on in life right now, everything's so fast paced. The one time you can sort of relax, sit back, and
relax.
actually
It's
enjoy.
it's like meditation almost.
It's like meditation. It's very similar to real estate as well. You got to
True.
pick and choose which house. It's very similar. You got to pick and choose the right
You gotta
cigar.
pick and choose the right cigar.
And at the
Well,
end of the
thanks,
day-
gentlemen. This is fantastic.
Well, thanks so
far.
much for
Absolutely.
coming on Boss
Thanks for
Talks
coming.
today.
Yeah,
the
man.
least we could do.
Amazing.
So we
I'm
want
pumped
to get
for a
into
conversation, like joining some elite company here. I know you've had some
100%.
pretty wild guests on Boss Talk.
Dude.
So
So
Thank
yeah, we
you.
want to get
I'm
into it.
pumped.
I know obviously we know what you do. You're in real estate. A lot of people that are obviously listening, they just know the face, they know the billboard, they know what
they know
you're
the
doing.
beard.
So I know obviously you're doing the real estate stuff. I want you to get into it. Tell me a little bit more about how you got into it, who you are, what you do. Handsome gentleman with a
Oh,
nice suit.
thank you.
With a cigar in your hand. GQ model over here.
Boss Talks. The
That's
boss
it.
on the Boss
There it
Talks. Well, no, I mean, thanks so much for having me. First and foremost, it's an honor to be here, and you guys are great guys. So I'm just enjoying
you.
hanging out with you. Like just
Appreciate
hanging
you.
out with you in itself is a pleasure. But no, I mean, I grew up in real estate, in the real estate world. Third generation. My grandparents were in the business. My mother is in the business. She works on the team. My sister's now in the business as well. So whole family affair. But I've always been intrigued by the whole real estate world. It's the biggest asset class on the planet. There's a lot of money to be made in the business for investors. And, when you know what to do, when you know how to tackle, I guess it's intimidating. Like it's an intimidating industry from
100%.
all angles. So
For sure.
when you're more educated and more prepared, you can make more educated and prepared decisions, which result in better gains and better results, more calculated results. But anyway, back to me. I could talk about myself for a while if you like. But yeah, third generation, I've always had a thing for real estate. I love helping people, educating people. I've always been intrigued by educating. And I think that's the biggest thing now is that our value proposition as realtors has changed. So something that I pride myself and our team on is our commitment to our clients and being well prepared to add that value, right? You've got House Sigma now, Zolo. Some of my clients know what the house next door sold for before even I do
Yeah.
because they're 100%
They're on it.
on there. I've got 5,000 clients. They've got one. They've got themselves. So they're more in tune with, their own goals and whatever it is that they're looking at. So
Now you said you're a third
that's
generation
important.
realtor.
Yes.
So
That's huge.
your
is huge,
your
yeah.
parents are
Pretty cool.
realtors, your grandparents are realtors.
My
Tell us
mom,
about
my
that. Like
grandparents. Yeah.
what kind of
It's been
influence
the-
did they have on you?
Growing up with it, I guess I knew what to be prepared for. Like you really got to buckle up and know the sacrifices that you got to make, for the right reasons, when and where and why. But I remember being pulled out of karate class or pulled out of soccer practice halfway through because my mom she'd take us to practice, and she'd have a deal going on. Hey guys, I gotta go, I gotta get there, right? So maybe it's a little different in this day and age with cell phones and Zoom and Wi-Fi and whatever, those Rogers speed sticks or whatever, right? Those things. Yeah. So you have access to things all over the place now. But growing up with it, I saw the dedication that, my mom more than my grandparents, like living with my mom and dad, but just the dedication, the commitment, and the nonstop, like 24/7, being on 24/7 and like committing to, you are your brand in this business. Right? You go grocery shopping, she'd be dressed nice just in case I run into someone. Like there's a lot of stress and pressure that I think people don't get. And, you are your business. So it's different. You can't just go and enjoy a ski vacation and talk about it. Or at least that's the way I was kind of brought up, is this extra stress of always being your business, always thinking about the business, always thinking about the clients and your reflection, your brand, and all those things. So I saw a lot of the stress that came with it, but also the commitment of being committed to this business, just what it takes. And before getting into it, I think a lot of people don't get that. I had the pleasure and honor of seeing that from day one, which knew what I was getting into. That set the tone, if you will. Yeah. Some people, it's a shock, a bit of a.
And that's something that we've always talked about. And I always say how presentable you are, always in a suit. And you see so many of the other agents, and we're not gonna bad talk them, but
everyone's got their own brand. Everyone's got their own idea. This is just not saying mine's right.
I just remember when because I'm originally from Vancouver. So when we came to Toronto, we had a real estate agent that we dealt with. And the first time I ever met him, I remember he was in a nice suit. He picked us all up in S class. And that was what I remember a real estate agent being. So when I see these real estate agents pull up in like Nike tracksuits, they're not even presentable. It's like, how do you expect me to buy a house? But then every time I see you, you're always in a suit, hair slicked back, nice, presentable. So it's an image.
And your suits are tailored. They look super tailored.
Thanks,
and like
Greg at Suit Supply is the man. Greg at Suit Supply.
Greg, we're going to need a suit soon, please.
A boss talk suit.
I want to look like him, please.
Just took my sister in for a nice custom suit. Pretty cool. So
I saw.
She did a TikTok.
I saw
she's
TikTok.
Big on TikTok.
She's huge on TikTok. She's
unreal.
herself. Yeah.
So proud of her. She's
shout
fantastic.
out Sue.
Shout out to Sue. Shout out to the team, man.
Shout out to the team.
Shout out to everybody. Want to shout out? Give me a call.
That's it.
But no, you know what? The other thing I guess you can say about that is, with the emergence of social media and this and that, like people are always their brand. They're always popping on. They're always doing what they do. But seeing my mom in the industry and growing up with that, back then, you're not that old, Mom, but like, back then things have changed drastically and evolved in this business. And it used to be on par, a realtor, an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor. Like we were professionals, and the integrity of the industry is changing very quickly. And that bothers me, because you talk to people and, oh, what do you do? I'm in real estate. Oh yeah, so is my cousin, my brother, my aunt, my uncle, my
industry almost got watered down. Yeah,
right. My cousin who used to put winter tires, and now he's no offense, like just totally unrelated industry. So power to everyone. You want to get in the business, great, but you have to understand the commitment that comes with it and your role. Right? Like we have such a responsibility to our clients. We're not selling bubblegum or Levi's jeans that you can return the next day if you don't like it, or there's not legality involved in lawsuits, and we respect the fact that a lot of our clients have spent years saving up for their first down payment, and finally when they deploy that capital, like it's a big deal. They're putting all that trust in us, so we don't take that lightly. We're not going to wing it. We're not going to just hope for the best, fingers crossed, like crazy. I'm seeing a lot of agents now putting things out there like, oh, this is one for the books, this is one for the ages. No, man, this is real estate. Like you were spoiled for the last 2 years with COVID, but this, like, buckle up, because this is the business. Yeah. And everyone's been spoiled. Rising tides raise all boats is something I often say. And agents were spoiled. You see the transaction volume. You see the, I put in quotations, the ease of doing a deal. You put a sign on the line, it sells. That's our Toronto market for the last little bit or previous. And everyone's jumping in, getting their real estate license. I taught the courses at Humber for a little while, and just seeing the people that were coming through, some good intentions, some, oh, I just want to make money in this crazy market. Like, okay, but your goal's got to go beyond that. Your interest has to go beyond that. You have to truly give can I swear on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you have to give a shit about your client. I say to my team all the time, like that's number one. As long as you give a shit, you'll be committed to learning. You'll be committed to sharpening your own knife, reading the articles, right? But you also got to like it. You can't get into this for, the quick money. You got to get into this because you truly love the industry. I'm obviously passionate about it. I can go on and on.
Of course.
Stop me anytime. Jump in anytime.
No, and that's something we always talk about is, as a sales individual, if you're driven by the money, right off the bat, that transaction is not going to go well.
No.
But if you know for a fact that, okay, you're good on the money side of things, but you generally care about that client and you care how it's going to shift, it'll go to way, way, way farther.
The impact you have is just insane. Like the impact you have and how close you get with your clients throughout this process. Like it's such an honor for them to include you in that
They
process.
become family eventually. It's not even a client.
100%. And you know, it's unfortunate for short periods of time, really, and you try to keep in touch, but you get so close for, you know, a month or 2 months, and you are the shoulder to cry on. You're the chauffeur. You're the therapist. You're the banker. You're everything.
You're the massage therapist. You're everything.
Whatever you need to be.
It.
I hear Nick gives good massages. So I don't know. Maybe I should have sat closer to Nick for this one.
We can switch spots if you want.
We'll switch it. No problem. I'll get the
But
word
this
on
is
the back.
something that a lot of people don't realize. Like, and this goes back to what you were saying about social media. Like, we're almost conditioned to just see things from a superficial level. And we were talking about this before we started rolling. Is that
Can I put that in?
absolutely?
course.
Yeah. A lot of people hear boss or like boss talks, and they just see what's on the surface. Like, how did this guy make it? But
Everybody wants to be a boss.
Exactly.
Everybody's a boss.
Everyone
when they
wants
get
to be a
there,
boss,
right?
but
Everyone's a boss
nobody.
when they're boss.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
Nobody wants to go through the process, and a lot of people don't know what
That's
the process
the
is like.
biggest thing.
Nobody
You know?
realizes that you're the sales guy, you're the marketing guy, you're the janitor, you're the accountant,
Dude, it's
you're quality controller.
insane.
You got to run all these. You got to
100%.
put all these
It's a
different
lot of
hats on.
hats.
Yeah.
Don't even have
Yeah.
anywhere to put them. If you need a walk-in closet
That's
for all the
it.
hats, let me know. But you know, that's the thing. And there's so many different directions I can take this. But I think that it's so easy to have a false sense of accomplishment or a false sense of you know, feeling productive with social media. You throw something out there on social media as a realtor or whatever, business owner, as a boss, you throw something out there and you're thinking, oh, great, I did something for the day.
Yeah.
Those likes aren't paying your heat and hydro or your admin team or your marketing or your client gifts. Like it's the boring stuff that makes a boss, I think. It's the behind the scenes, the boring stuff, the, you know, being in the office until 3 a.m. Doing paperwork or prepping for the next day or reaching out to the same lawyer 15 times because maybe the lawyer's not on the ball, or you know, the boring activities and actions and consistency of those things that, you know, there's that tacky saying, an overnight success takes 10 years to make or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's very true. But that's the idea. I think everybody wants to be a boss, and they see the fancy cars and they see the fancy suits and they see the slick hair and they see they see all these things and, oh, he's so lucky. Dude, it's not luck, man.
The amount of hard work that went into
it's
getting to there.
over a decade
There's
of
a saying: more
hard
money,
work,
more
blood, sweat, and
problems.
tears, sacrificing, you know,
Bring on
my
the
friends'
problems.
birthdays, my parents' anniversaries, my niece and nephew's extravaganzas and my wife's date night. Like there's a lot of
Gotta keep
sacrifice. And it's
everyone
not
happy.
just you, it's your circle.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to set boundaries
And you gotta
gotta
have
make
some time for
certain
yourself, too.
expectations, but it's the boring stuff that makes a boss, I think,
Yeah.
is the main point if I had to make things concise, because everybody looks cool once they've made it. But, you know, it's that decade journey of getting there where those boss habits and consistencies and work ethic is developed and evolved. And that's what makes a boss.
And this goes back to
boss
what you said. You
for your
said
podcast.
being a boss isn't glamorous. A lot of people
It's
think
not.
being a boss is glamorous because they see everything on the surface. They see the nice car. They see
And
the
you
chain.
always see guys saying, "Oh, well, man, you're killing it. You're doing so well. Oh, I want to be like you when I grow up." Well, you don't know the things that I deal with on a regular basis. You
Yeah, it's
see,
wild.
you see what I'm allowing you to see.
Correct. People only know what you tell them, right?
Yeah.
It's a
Just
thing.
come
right?
spend the
People-
whole day with me, and I'm pretty sure you won't even be able to handle half the stuff I go through.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. The little things, and you nailed it. That's
But also, can you blame people though? It's like when you're conditioned to watch an 8-second TikTok video and your attention span slowly is, deteriorating day by day. It's like you can only consume so much knowledge nowadays, right? Before the next thing. And that's why, going back to the whole cigar thing,
Yeah.
it's nice to slow it down every once in a while.
And that's when you can reflect and come up with the
100%.
big picture ideas, because you get so much into, I say, kind of treading water sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And especially in a certain position, business owners, entrepreneurs, people that are looking to be ultra successful, you find yourself doing what needs to be done, those routine, mundane things.
Absolutely.
It's important to, have a cigar, sit back and think big picture. Where do you want to be in a year, 2 years,
Make
5
plans.
years, 10 years? Make plans, set goals. They did a study I was reading recently. I read a lot and I study a lot of everything, especially real estate. But I was reading a thing on a Harvard study, and they interviewed whatever it was, hundreds, thousands of millionaires, billionaires, successful people, whatever. And the common theme that made them successful, it wasn't waking up early. It wasn't putting on a suit. It wasn't having a good CRM. It was setting goals. It was setting goals. And I was like, whoa, it's one of the easiest things you could possibly do, but people don't do them. And I think to take that further, at least what I took further from my team, is reflect on those goals. Like go back and revisit those goals. So today, February 1st, can I say the date? Like I know this will be released later, but it's
100%.
February 1st today. First of the month, it's a good time to go back and revisit your goals.
Yeah.
Right.
So we make our business plan February 1st. What are the percentages of people that give up, go to the gym in the first week of the new year? and stop eating healthier
They
and
go for
working
the first
out
2
and
weeks and then they cancel it.
these things, right? It is what it is. So now we got to revisit those goals because we forget what we've committed ourselves to. And we have to hold ourselves accountable, especially boss talks. You have to hold yourself accountable. There's no one saying, be in the office by 9, you're not allowed to leave till 5:30. You got to go take a piss. You got to ask if time for lunch, you have 30 minutes, time's ticking. You have to make your own schedule. So it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to find those mundane tasks.
Especially with everything, with all this technology around, you got to sometimes just grab a pen, piece of paper, and just write it down. I got my journal every morning. I write in.
So important.
Productivity planner, all that stuff. And this is all stuff. And it's funny that I think it has to go back with curriculum of school as well. When you're a kid, they teach you about all these goals and whatnot. And like when you get your report card, like what you need to work on and all that stuff. But as you sort of get older, they shift out of it. And then you kind of have to pick it up when you're an adult. So it's
because we just want to get to the end. We just want to get out of school. We just want to finish so we can work and we can do and we can
everything nowadays is a get rich quick scheme. Everything.
Well, that's it. Everybody wants things immediately. Like our generation, and I mean, it is what it is. Like I love our generation. Not to knock it. There's enough people knocking our generation.
Yeah.
But we are, climatized and conditioned now for immediate satisfaction.
Yep.
Everybody that's why we like Instagram. We get a few likes. Oh, great! I feel good today.
Yeah.
Great. Did you make any money? Did you make any progress in your business? Did you make anybody smile? Did you
Did you have a conversation today?
Did you have a conversation? Did you pick up the phone?
Did you learn something?
Scared to talk to people, man. Like same with dating, right? Tinder, this and that, just options and swiping and all these things. Like pick up the phone, go talk to people, go meet people, go to Starbucks, strike up a conversation. Like just.
And I think because of COVID, a lot of people they became even more introverted.
Yeah.
And they became a little bit more to themselves that now it's kind of like,
Because it's a whole other thing we got to overcome now.
Because they had to rely, because they were lacking that social connection because of COVID, because of all the isolation and stuff, they had to rely on the technology more to get that little kick of social interaction.
I go to Starbucks, I hold the door open and or someone head down. Head down. Or they'll hold the door for me and I'll say thank you. And they get flustered. They don't know what to say. Like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I think it's so easy to just like you stay in that zone, right? People just they get comfortable, especially in business. Same idea, right? So they get comfortable. Now you're used to these COVID things. Sweatpants, hoodies. I'm not gonna brush my teeth today. Like I don't know how far people take it, but I think people take it pretty far. You have to try. Like you have to try and make an effort to get back to the pre-pandemic life.
Yeah.
But that like it's totally up to you as the individual. If you want to try, if you want to be better, if you want to get out there, meet people, talk, and get over the blocks we've had the last couple of years, if you will, you got to try. It's an effort, like anything.
Yeah.
People like to sit back, relax, and get comfortable. I'm good. I'm living at home with my parents. I'm good. Or, I don't need to go to the gym. I'm okay. Right. But if you want to be better, you want to be on boss talks, you want to be content, they get comfortable. Like you got to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Even a lot of my team, like they're not used to talking on the phone, maybe some of them from different industries, whatever. You got to get comfortable with it. What's the best way to get comfortable with it? Pick up the damn phone.
Got to do it.
You're not going to, you can think about it. You can, what's the thing everybody does? Manifest.
You got to manifest.
I'm going to manifest it. Right?
Manifesting is one aspect too, but you got to actually do it.
But then you got to do it. Right?
It's like the people who read the books.
Picking up the phone. Yeah. Thinking about, if me thinking about having bigger biceps isn't going to get me bigger biceps.
No.
Me waking up in the morning, tired at 6 a.m., going to the gym, doing whatever, bicep curls, like that's going to get me bigger arms. I have to take action.
There's a great quote about what you're saying. They say manifestation without action is hallucination. It's just a pipe dream. Right? So unless you actually put those goals into practice and you take the steps required to achieve those goals, and you're just living in a fantasy.
I like that a lot. It's true.
Yeah, you're living in a fantasy.
Everybody wants things, and if I think hard enough and believe hard enough, I'll get there. But that's like
a lot of people are dreamers. A lot fewer of them are actually doers. Yeah. And on that note too, like one of the reasons why we started Boss Talks to begin with is because me and Nick and I just loved sitting at Yorkville, smoking a cigar like this and talking to some of the old heads there that would also be there because there's a nice little cigar shop. People grab their coffee, their cappuccino, they sit down, and we just like talking to people.
Yeah. Well, you see that too, right? They've got their routine.
And to be honest, this is something that I got better with by hanging out with Nick, by the way, because I was a super shy guy growing up.
Yeah.
And then I put myself into situations where I had to talk to people. Cutting hair for 7 years was one of those things that I did. Cool. Right. And then you get to experience people from all walks of life, and you're sort of forced to have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
And
be uncomfortable. And
we created Boss Talks because we wanted to pick the brains of people like yourself, people that are successful in the industry, more mature, and just really talk to them more than anything.
Yeah.
And build relationships.
It's a great podcast. I'm a big fan. So
thank you.
I'm excited to be an elite company.
There's one thing I really want to get into is what's the day in the life of Tyler McLay? How do you start your mornings?
Good one. Day in the life. So yeah, lately I've been waking up nice and early. I head over to the gym and start a little workout 3-4 days a week. I'll do that to start the day and be in the office by 8 a.m. No doubt. If I'm not going to the gym, I'm in the office by 8 a.m. Wake up. Generally don't have time to eat. I just don't. If I'm eating, I can't talk, and I make my living by talking. So
you got to connect the IV.
Wake up, have a couple of coffees, maybe a Spro to follow up the coffee, and get to the office and just kind of start my day. I like being very organized, very structured. So I'll review my schedule for the day and see, you have to be able to change on the fly in this business. In any business, you got to be able to change on the fly. So review my schedule and just kind of get to it. Every day is different, but it's a combination of talking to people, touching base with people, holding a lot of hands, making people feel comfortable, knowing, making sure they know I'm there for them if they need me. But yeah, there's no structure, like 9 to 5 structure, other than what structure I create for myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how to go about this. I mean, lots of office time, lots of on the road time, there's no.
You're all over.
There's no format. I'm all over, but that's the beauty of this business, and that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur and being a boss on Boss Talks. Is there's no structure, and you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
You have to be okay with adaptability. If I get a call on my way here that someone needs me over there, you shift, you adapt, you change, you do that, right? There's no two deals are alike. No two transactions I've done in my life have ever been remotely similar. There's a lot of young couples with kids looking to upsize. That's a transaction we've done many times, but everyone's goals are different. Some want stairs, some don't want stairs. Some want to be in Vaughan, some want to be in Brampton, some want to be in Mississauga, some want to be in Hamilton. Everything's different, and the agents you're dealing with on the other side are different. The seller's motivation is different. So you have to tweak, you have to adapt. I tell my team a lot, you got to have all the ammo in there, and then you fire the shots when you need to. You don't have to fire all your shots at once, but you have the ammo to kind of fire the shot you need at the time, and that comes with being okay with change and adapting on the fly. So my day in the life: wake up early and go to town and do whatever's needed of me. I wake up, I get my suit on, and I go, and I'm on. And my front desk admin said to me today, she goes, it was like 8:30 in the morning. She was just getting in, and we got a new rug in the office, a new front rug, because the old one was getting faded from the sun. And I was like dancing on it to like break it in. I'm like, let's break this thing in, this new rug, right? I'm breaking it in. And she goes, I wish I had your energy. And that's something that, people tell me a lot, and, I'm proud of the energy that I have, but I think it comes with passion, being passionate about what I do. Yeah. So day in the life is energetic, passionate, and just boom, like whatever's needed of me, whatever comes, lots of phone calls, lots of action.
And that's how we originally connected too.
Sorry, not a formal answer, but
and that's how we connected originally. I saw you on Instagram and I saw your videos. I'm like, okay, you know what? This guy knows what he's talking about. Let me reach out to him. And we were trying to work out a billboard campaign at first. And I wasn't pushy at all from the beginning. I'm like, listen, these are the options. It took us, I think, 8 months to finally find the perfect board.
Yeah, like how long did it take you to even just get a hold of me? Like I always put myself last, right? It's always clients, but yeah, like we're going back and forth,
having emails 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock, and you're like, why are you even up? I'm like, why are you up?
Yeah.
And then we're going back. It's like, yo, what's going on?
Why are you up?
That was such a moment. I was like, yes, this is the guy.
This is the guy. He's like, he's up like me. I'm just like, okay.
No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first.
And we did it. We went back and forth.
It was quite cute.
And we found the perfect board for you, and the whole team's on the board, and you're happy. And we've been working close to 3 years together.
Now. It's been 3 years. And
you've been on that board for a while too. I see it all the time.
It's a great board, and it's so fun when people send it to me like, oh, I saw you. I saw you. Like, it's a great way to, people from high school I haven't seen in years.
Yeah.
Elementary school, kids I've taught karate to that are downtown. Like, it's such a great spot.
And you've built this brand that people now don't associate that gas station as Shell anymore. It's Tyler's gas station.
Tyler's Corner.
My gas station.
So that board has gone to a whole nother level where it's like, it's even changed the brand of the businesse.
Yeah.
It's not even like, at this point, we got to put your logo on top of the Shell logo.
It's a great extension of the brand. It's cool. It's fun. And I mean, I say to people too, like, do you get calls from the billboard? I'm not really going to get a stranger call me from the billboard, but the idea is that it's a supplement to everything else we're 100%. Doing, right? You do the postcards. You're dominant in that market. We sell a lot in that market. We pick up the phone. They see our listings. They see our postcards. They see our online ads, our social media reels and videos, and then they happen to be getting gas. Oh, it's that guy again. Then they get my mailing. Right. They're 100 times more likely to pick up the phone and call me.
It also establishes credibility, right?
Credibility is huge. Yeah. I was reading a thing the other day, and this is my next team meeting. Here's a preview for your team. But the reason, or part of the reason why celebrities are perceived as like good looking and people like them and all that is because they are recognizable. And the more we see certain faces, similar with brands, the more we see them, the more we trust them, and the more we're attracted to them, and the more we like them. Right. So it's about being consistent in your approach, consistent in your brand, and kind of hitting from all angle.
It's almost like a
It's just
subconscious thing, right? It's
stretch
like if you're
benchmark. Well,
if you're
that's it.
constantly exposed to an image of Tyler McLay as you pass by work every morning, right? The next time you're on the market for a house and you're looking for a realtor, the first name that probably comes to mind is Tyler McLay.
Well, instead of falling asleep to sheep jumping over a fence, you're falling asleep to Tyler jumping over houses. or
Right? No,
something.
but it
Like,
works. It's all
I
subliminal,
don't know what
right?
you guys do out there.
That might
but
be the next creative idea
Right?
for next month.
That'd
So
be a fun
we
one.
might have to
Yeah.
talk about that one.
Count Tylers.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's just turned into a creative meeting.
And that's the thing about advertising that you understand is like it's not always about sales. Sometimes it's about building the brand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's the differentiate that, okay, you know what? Sometimes you got to figure out what your goal is, because everyone who does these billboards or advertising, they always want like money. Like, oh, let's sales. Off the bat, you're like, listen, I understand it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
And to this point, you still understand that
It's a long-term thing.
It's a
been
long-term
2 years
thing.
going strong, right? We're still going with the billboard and other creatives and other fun
And
stuff. So
That's it.
it's about building and committing. It's the same thing with our clients. Like we commit to our clients. We commit to their transaction. Hey, I'm thinking of buying, but not for another, year or so. Okay, no problem. I'm going to send you market stats weekly, get you in the loop, get you prepared, introduce you to the mortgage people that you need to talk to, and, start that journey. And when you're ready, I'll be here for you. But that's the thing across the board.
So
Consistency.
how important is your personal brand for your line of work?
It's very important, but I think some realtors, some agents put a little too much importance on it.
Right.
Brand and new logos every friggin' year and new, personal brand. I think the biggest thing that's important to me in my personal brand is knowing that it's me and I am my brand.
100%.
So everything I do, everything I put out is a reflection of me. If I'm walking down the street, I don't know if anyone's watching, I'm going to pick up the trash in front of my office, right? If there's
He's got the
homeless
class.
people
You're a classy guy.
in front of the building, I'll buy them a coffee. So the things that go unnoticed, but it's just who you are and who you truly are at the core is what your brand is. But wearing a suit every single day, you will never ever catch me in sweats and a hoodie ever, unless it's a buy with tie hoodie, right? Or a Boss Talks hoodie. I don't know if that's the thing, but
We're
I'd love
making
one.
it coming soon.
But certain things. There's a time and a place. If I'm sitting at home watching TV, sure, I'm in sweats and a hoodie.
Yeah,
But
you
my
maintain this
brand
image.
doesn't see that. My brand, I'm in my suit every day. I didn't wear a tie yesterday in the office, and my assistant goes, "Whoa, is it like casual Monday or something?" I said, "What do you mean? Because you're not wearing a tie." I was all suited up, shirt, suit, shoes, whatever, but no tie. Like it's part of your brand. So brand is super important because it should supersede you. But I think as a new agent, putting too much effort into your brand is irrelevant. Your name is your brand.
Right.
You are your brand. Don't get too crazy with, funky names and funky logos and spending all the money on your brand, because people don't give a shit. People give a shit about you and what you're going to do for them. And over time, like just now, after a decade, with the help of my awesome team, our brand is more powerful than me. And that's the goal. But it takes 10 years to do that. You can't do that off the bat. And that's been a commitment to really caring about our clients, making an effort to add an insane amount of value to every transaction, and, building off of that. But new agents, new people, new businesses, whatever, like your name is your brand. So
And the reason I ask is because
that's the idea, I guess.
nowadays you see so many real estate pages of just people posting sold, or for sale, or they do those videos of the walkthroughs and
They
on a
literally book a
property and stuff.
showing and they make it seem like it's their listing, and it's like
It's
how-
actually illegal. You actually technically can't even do that per RICO.
Really?
Yeah, so you can't even do that. So they could all get
oh,
big
you realtors,
shit,
all you
but-
guys watching,
Sneaky.
it's illegal.
But you know what it is? It's too much of that. Talking about personal brand here, I'll get a little energetic here.
Please.
It's too much of the personal brand and not enough about the fucking listing
Yes.
and the job that you're hired to do.
Right.
You want to promote a listing? You want to put a post like, "Hey, I'm showing this wicked loft in Liberty Village today. Really cool views. If anyone's interested, let me know." Cool. But it's not about you. All you see is agent, and like
I see these agents, they book these multi-million-dollar mansions. They dress up in suits
because they want the views
with
and
the
the likes.
Rolex, with
100%.
the Ferragamo belt.
Yeah.
Welcome to my newest listing. The
Yeah.
drone flies in. There's a Lamborghini that's from
Oh, it's hilarious.
this
But they're acting like
luxury
they own the house.
Ask them
rental.
about the market.
Nothing.
Ask them, hey, tell me
Nothing.
about the market.
Oh my
What are
God.
interest
Don't
rates
get me
doing?
started.
What's
Tyler,
inflation
please.
doing? Like, I love my business more than anything, and I love my industry more than anything. But back to my mother and seeing the way she was so well respected. Nowadays, it's not so much. It's not so much respected
And
because of things like this, because people don't respect the industry, respect themselves. Hey, check out this house. And it's the phone is like on their face. You can't see the kitchen. Look at these nice kitchen cabinets. I can't see them because your stupid mug is in the way,
Yeah.
right? Like, tell me about the house. Sell the house. For us, it's clients first, homes first, goals first, selling, moving property. That's it. It's not about me. The likes and the followers, the reason we have the following we have, it's organic because people like what we put out there.
Yeah.
We're not going for the likes and the followers and, me walking around in TNA pants through a friggin' house.
That's what I was going to say. Are we selling a
like-
house or are we selling ass? Like, what are
Yeah,
you doing?
I'm not selling ass.
So
I'm selling
This
real
listing is
estate.
brought to you by
That's a lot
Aritzia.
of it.
That's it.
But no,
So-
I think that's the high level thought is that, personal brand's important.
Yeah.
But to an extent, it's not more important than your clients. It's not more important than your client goals. I know a lot of successful agents doing extremely well and immense amount of trust from their clients, and you don't even know their name. They're not even on social media. These
That's
are
it.
old school guys that pick up the phone and call. But then
Your
people
mom's a
that
prime
are
example.
perceived to be successful.
Everyone knows her in the industry, but she's not huge on social media.
No.
But she's
you ask,
well known.
You ask in the industry, my mom,
Yeah,
like she's
They know her.
huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. So, at the same time, I guess social media gives you that outlet to look more successful than you are.
It's the
Fake it
credibility.
till you make
Yeah.
it, credibility. And that's fine and dandy, but put out something of value. Like tell people something that you think they'd want to know. Vacant home tax tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's the deadline to declare. Talk about it.
Yeah.
That's the
Don't
thing.
want,
Like,
this is
funny
what
enough-
2,300 gets you at King One.
Funny enough, I didn't
I
know
don't
about that whole
care.
vacant tax thing until I saw the whole team post about it.
Value.
And I seen, you have this piece of paper, file it. If you don't, shoot me a message and I'll help you file
we'll
it.
help you. We'll help
And
you.
I haven't seen any other realtor post it. And you guys are the first guys I saw.
Well,
so-
thanks.
and also,
Appreciate
like, how are you going to establish
value,
yourself as an authority on a subject when like all you do is just post those kinds of videos? It's like,
There's no value.
I don't need bottle girls liking my videos.
That's
like,
what I'm
no offense,
saying.
but I need home buyers buying.
And it really makes
and
me
liking
wonder.
my
It's like
videos.
how many people,
You know,
how many of
There's
these
a certain
realtors,
audience. You got to know your audience.
Yeah.
like how many of these realtors really know what they're talking about, like on a deep level? I feel like a lot of them just throw out a bunch of buzzwords that they see on the headlines
Or
of
those
articles and stuff.
Well, I said the
screenshot
last
these
one I
email
said-
blasts from Oria or Rico
Yeah.
or whatever,
And
they'll
screenshot.
just post
stats.
it.
I hate stats.
I hate
So
stats.
I love stats, but I hate stats. I hate the Trev stats because it's so convoluted. You sell 10, for sake of the argument, you sell 10 big detached homes and 2 condos. Average price can be a lot higher. But then, next month, as density's coming back to the core, next month, there's going to be more condo sales than the detached homes. So the average price will dip naturally. But, average price dipped. Are you looking into those stats?
But
Are you
see,
smart
nobody's
enough to
breaking it down like
dig
that,
into
though.
it, right? And we try to dig in. I made one last week, and kind of you got to take the odd jab here and there. Like I'm the nicest guy of all time, but I also respect myself, my industry, and my team. But every time there's a rate announcement from the Bank of Canada, every realtor becomes an economist. And I saw a
They
realtor post the other
screenshot
day.
it and it's
Dude,
the back of their post.
I sent it to my team. I saw a realtor post the other day. Me not knowing what inflation was last year,
Yeah.
and now knowing what inflation is little things just like they make me laugh. Like you got to think of your audience and think of who's seeing your stuff. I'm not an entertainer. And some agents, you want to go that route? Great. Right? Like I love the podcast stuff. If it's bringing you business, great. But I'm not an influencer.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Mhm.
I'm a realtor and a really good one. So that's what I am. And that's the content I'm putting out specific to my audience. Right? I'm not trying to get likes from people in Texas that just want cool reels of walkthroughs. And it's sad that they get more likes than, me talking about vacant home tax or inflation and the way the monetary policy is impacting our market now and making educated predictions, right? How's the market? Oh, it's good. Something we practice every single time with my team is asking that question. How's the market? Because your average agent, no, it's fine. Can you dig a little deeper? No,
Yeah.
inflation and interest rates and houses.
CPI
Instagram.
basis points. And,
Yeah. Start throwing out some stuff.
And-
But what does that mean? So our anyway.
and this is something
it's
that I always
value,
say.
man, and
and there's
knowledge and giving a shit.
It's an episode of Grind My Gears, by the way.
This is
We're
a
going
Grind My
deeper
Gears.
now.
I was
And
nice
this-
to have an outlet to just kind of go. And I know realtors, they're going to be like, well,
no, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this next thing I'm going to
Oh,
say.
this is a controversial one.
And I always say it, and this applies to some people and not all. In my opinion, some realtors, well, a lot of them actually, a big percentage, are not salespeople. They're marketing tools.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's true. A lot of these realtors are not salespeople. There's a small handful that actually know how to sell, actually know how to negotiate, actually know how to, offer
It's a
something
wicked skill.
and talk about a lot of things and value, opposed to these ones that are just marketing tools.
Most money spent on education and knowledge on any course ever, like whatever, crypto or AI or whatever. The number one thing people spend money on to learn that they want to refine their skill is sales.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing that
It's
people want to know
also
and
something
want
that
to
comes
learn.
naturally as well. You have to naturally also have
For
a
sure.
little bit into you. But
sure.
there's a lot of these realtors
it's
that
a
are just
skill.
marketing tools.
People think, I
Yeah.
can sell. Like I'm
No, you can't.
I'm good looking and I can talk and I can sell. But no, there's a lot. Like talk to my team, man. Like every time we're doing a deal, I'm right there with them, and we're finding the most creative ways to go back and find value for our clients without just going up in price. Right?
But that's
There's
also because
so
you
many
invest all
ways
this
you can-
stuff into your team.
can
And you
attack.
do these seminars, you do the meetings, and
I love my team. They come before me.
that's what I was going to
And
get
again,
into is
that's my
how is
commitment.
it
Long-term
having a team, and how is it having almost like your own little family and your own little kids running around. You have to sort of like
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
so-
I'm so passionate about it, and they're all so unique and successful in their own ways, and they all have certain skills to leverage. And I love when they make it their own and put their own spin on things, because I can teach real estate, but I can't teach you how to be a good person and truly care about your clients. And, that's something that's harder to teach. I could teach real estate all day, all night, but talking about your, back to all the hats you got to wear, like it's just more hats. It's an enhanced role. It's not a change in role. I'm not a manager. I am, but I'm not just a manager. I'm a manager as well as a salesperson, as well as a coach, as well as a therapist, as well as, I send I think I'm getting carpal tunnel in my thumb because I have to hold down the speech thing. I send voice notes. Oh, team, by the way, Nick's the one that got me into voice notes. You're the one.
Really?
Just so you know. You send me voice notes. I'm like, this is genius.
It's easy.
Think
It's
of the
quick.
time I can say,
Yeah.
my team hates you. I send voice notes.
It's the
Probably
best.
like an hour's worth of voice
And it
notes. all
helps
day
that his
throughout the day,
voice is
just
so fucking
about-
It's the
erotic,
best.
man. Like this
Instead
guy,
of typing something and you never know what that message is going to go through. And I know we talk something the same times. Like when we first started doing business, you want to send me something and I'm just like, okay, like you would like, okay, is Nick
I
not
love the voice
understanding?
notes.
And then we started sending each other voice notes, and that whole like maybe he's talking to me in a different way is all out the window because now you actually hear how I'm actually saying it and how you're actually saying it. So there's no discrepancy. Like, okay,
and even back to agents. Some agents don't want to like even pick up the phone, talk, voice notes, whatever.
Oh.
It's just all text, and so many things can get miscommunicated through
Yeah.
that. I try calling. Oh, can you just text me? Can we just go through email? I'm trying to articulate our position and tell you why this is a great number for your client and blah, blah, blah. Like I'm trying to do my job. Why don't you do yours? And that's the most difficult and frustrating thing about this business is that you have to deal with other agents that have the same title as you, but are at different levels than you. And it sucks. I just did a great deal, great lease for a good client of mine. And she said, Ty, wow, great agent I dealt with on the other side. Like there's great agents out there. You got to find them. It's like anything.
For sure. Yeah.
It's like anything, right? I want to buy a car. I got to do my own homework to find the right car. And I think clients and the public needs to give a shit and interview agents and talk to people and ask about experience. But my point is she was great. And she said, wow, it's so refreshing to do a deal with you. And I said the same thing. I said, it's been a pleasure because it was just the way it should be. But it's unfortunate that that's not the norm. Like the norm is not that. And I don't want to hate on the industry. Like I love the industry. I don't want to talk down on anyone or anything, but I think that just as realtors, we have to understand the magnitude of our role, respect the authority that we have and the role we have, to put it simply. Like that is our biggest responsibility. And I hope other realtors take it seriously and commit to adding value to their clients and doing the best job they can instead of just, let's just get it done kind of thing. What's easier for me? I don't care what's easy for me. I've driven to Oakville in a snowstorm for a signature at 1 a.m. because it would have saved my client like $3,000 or something. Like that's what I'm going to do. And I didn't have to do that. Right? There was another one we did recently where someone made a change to their offer. If someone makes a change, it was sold conditional. They made a change to their amendment and real estate talk, whatever. There was an opportunity for more people to jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Any other realtor, or not any other realtor, a lot of other realtors would have said, yeah, sure, we'll give you the extension. What did I do? I got an extension on the amendment, so I had an extra 4 hours, and I spent those 4 hours calling every single one, 45 agents that showed this condo. I called every single one and said, hey, there's a chance for you to jump in. Do you want to? Long story short, one of them did. We got our client $15,000 more for their unit by being proactive and
this goes back to being a salesperson.
We care,
Understanding.
yeah. Like we care. So that's the biggest thing, and it's hard to. Can I do another example?
Yeah, for sure.
I could talk all
go
day,
for
man.
it. Talk.
Another example, I did a TikTok the other day, and my sister's better at the TikTok, so I just like to talk and make my points, but she articulates things better than me. Anyway, the point is that, you see Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, these hockey guys, you see LeBron James and Antetokounmpo, whatever. You see these guys on the stage and you see why they're worth what they're worth. You see why they're the best at what they do because they perform. Nobody gets to see me perform. Nobody gets to see what we do behind the scenes. So for us to share stories and talk about things like this it's amazing to have a platform to do it because we don't get that chance. When I'm doing a deal, I don't have 5,000 live audience members to see me kill it, right?
Right.
Picasso, you see his work at the end, you see, wow, right? You see, wow, that's so cool. What a nice piece of art. But you don't get to see me paint my art. You don't get to see my work of art at the end. Sold. Oh, great. You don't know the back end. You don't know the inner workings. And that's a lot of, sold, whatever. And the public doesn't know. Did you leave $100,000 on the table? Did you get 20,000 more than you should have? Did you how well did you do for your client? You don't know. So we have to share these stories sometimes. We don't have an audience. We have to articulate. We have to get in front of the clients. We have to have those meetings and have those one-on-one conversations to sell ourselves.
That's so interesting because I feel like people get upset when a politician, for example, like a sleazy politician, gets a lot of money, like millions of dollars. But nobody gets upset that like the Dalai Lama, if somebody gave the Dalai Lama like $1 million or like the Virgin Mary or like Jesus or something, But the point is, I think people get upset over other rich people and successful people when they feel like they don't deserve it. So this goes back to your point.
You have tons of guys saying,
point.
"Oh, well, realtors, they don't work hard.
Can you
They're
cut
making
commission? You make
8,000
money,
quick.
They don't
This,
work
that."
hard. Well, that's because that's what the industry looks like now. With I posted something yesterday again. Right, there's over 70,000 realtors as a member of TREB, and 85% of them do 0 to 5 deals a year. So that means only 15% of 70,000 agents are doing more than 5 deals a year.
Yeah.
How can you have any experience dealing with all the things we deal with? Like, no 2 deals are the same.
And this touches on the whole fact that you're saying earlier.
Mind blowing to me.
Touching on the fact that you're saying how your client was so refreshed by working with someone like you. There's a lot of people that know a realtor, whether it's their aunt, their uncle,
They feel obligated.
their brother, they feel obligated. What piece of advice would you give to someone that, let's say, has a brother, has a cousin, has an aunt, has an uncle that's a realtor, part-time? Let's say they own, I don't know, they're in some sort of other business, but on the weekends they do real estate.
Yeah.
What's the piece of advice you'd give them? I know what it is. Obviously, we're in the same industry at one point in some sort of capacity. We work together. But for people listening, what's that piece of advice to them that if they are in a situation? I love that question
because it's huge. And I have a two-part answer, if that's okay. Number one, the first thing I would say is, like, I love to coach. I love to teach. Let's do it together. I would love to coach your aunt, uncle, cousin on the way I do things. Let's do it together. You can co-list. I can list it with your aunt, uncle, brother, cousin, whoever. So let's do it together. You get the power of me, my brand, my knowledge. I get to coach and help your newer agent friend, right? So you're welcome. And you don't burn any bridges with your family. Yeah, I'm giving it to you, Nick, but I hope you can understand, this is a big deal for me, big asset.
It's a big investment. It's your biggest investment in your life.
I'd like to deploy the help of someone else. And, I know Tyler's willing to help you out throughout the way. So are you okay working together? Yeah, sure. I'd love to learn from Tyler. Okay, great. Done. So that would be my number one piece of advice. You don't burn bridges and you get the best of both. You get the best of both. Like, that's number one. Number two, something I've said to my team for a very long time, a way to talk to clients is, let's say, knock on marble, knock on wood. You need heart surgery, you need brain surgery, whatever.
Here. Knock on the.
There you go. Okay, that'll work. You're not going to go to the doctor if you need a life-saving heart surgery. You're not going to go to the guy that's going to give you a big gift basket and free parking when he's, just graduated from community college and bottom of his class. And he's a surgeon, right? I put it in quotations, like, he's a surgeon. But so is the top doctor in Ontario in whatever, in that field.
Yeah.
So I don't need a gift basket and free parking. I need the best of the best at what they do, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go, even barbers, same thing. I'm not going to just go to my buddy because my buddy, if he sucks, my hair is my brand, my look is my brand. I'm going to go to the right barber for the job. Same idea. But the example I use with my clients all the time is heart surgery. So you need the right person for the job. And, you can't compare selling a house to heart surgery. Financially, it's the biggest financial asset people own by far. So don't you want the best person for the job? And $5,000 when you're looking at $1,500,000, $5,000. Maybe it's not a lot of money, but $5,000 exclusively, that's a hell of a lot of money.
It is.
If I can get you $5,000 more, wouldn't you be happy? 10,000, 20,000, 100,000? Like, I'm not joking here. Like, I see properties that sell 100,000, 150,000 below what they should have because of bad advice, or because of a lazy realtor, or because of lazy representation. And buyers, I see buyers overpaying like crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. Those are the deals I'm looking for. So what areas, what pockets do you think are good right now that
I don't know,
are little...
find the bad realtors and just take advantage.
We can do this off the record, by the way, if the secrets are a little, you don't
the
want to.
public's got to know. Like this is what good agents do. Like, as soon as I see an agent on the other end, like, I can tell right away their level, and I know how I can, play the game, like negotiate. And I
but then also, what constitutes like that expertise? Is it just experience?
Combination of things. It's a combination of dedication and actually giving a shit about the business and your craft, right? If I want to be the best realtor that I want to be, it's not about posting pictures of me walking through a condo saying this is what 2,300 gets you in King West. Like, who gives a shit? What my clients want to know is, what's their home worth? How can we negotiate and get the best price possible? What's the market going to do in a year from now? And of course, I don't have a crystal ball, but I have the next best thing. I have facts and knowledge and the way we can articulate things, right? So we know how to interpret those stats. Stats are one thing, and then the interpretation of them is the most important.
Understanding it and relaying that off to the client.
Like, great question. It's the commitment. It's the experience. It's knowing how to put a deal together. It's knowing how to find opportunity. Maybe, you know what? It's not going to happen tonight. No problem. Let's take our foot off the gas because I know it's not going to sell at that price for another 2 weeks. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, we go back at our same price, and now that client's willing to take it, right?
Yeah.
I've had deals fall apart for $1,000. I've had deals come together that were $1 million apart. Like, everything can happen in this business. But yeah, it's the knowledge, the experience, knowing how to put the deal together. Better advice.
So have you been obviously you've been doing this for how long now?
Just over a decade now.
Over
Yeah,
a
but I've been in
decade,
the real
right?
estate world since birth. Like I'd help my mom in high school and
Yeah.
elementary school,
So-
and I'd do my internships on my lunch hour, go delivering flyers and stuff. And
So how have you
All that.
translated that knowledge and that experience and really that wisdom into your own investments? I'm curious, like what you've been doing,
good question. Yeah, I
what
think
your
that's
portfolio is
great
looking
Also,
like.
what you would
question.
recommend
Like,
for
practice
someone
what you
who's
preach,
looking
right?
into investing? Like, what are the hot pockets in the city right now? What stuff that's a little bit underrated and a lot of people don't know, that hidden gem almost?
Yeah. No, great questions, and this is what people want to know, right? They want to know the answers. So yeah, big investor. I bought my first property even before I was 18. Had to put in my mom's name because you can't own property until you're 18. But worked my butt off, karate camps, cutting grass, shoveling snow. Bought my first property. I think I was 17 or 16, and I just saved the heck out of my money. And I couldn't have done it on my own. I went splitsies with my mom, and it was a pre-con condo at Dufferin and Wilson. And from there, you just continue. Bought a house in Hamilton at 18. Me and my dad, great memories. Like
Oh, I
fixing
remember
it
the
up
Hamilton
and
house.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then I ended up having the pleasure of selling that for the
Yeah.
guy I sold it to. Anyway, but what do I look for in investment? So yeah, I own a number of properties throughout the GTA, and what I look for first and foremost is opportunity in the market. Okay, so real estate's a long-term game. No one, if you're looking to make a quick buck in this business, you're in the wrong business. Go look at something else. Look at crypto, or I don't know. I hate crypto, but go look at something else. Real estate's a long-term investment. You have to understand that. You have to be patient. You have to look at the market metrics. And throughout COVID, people forgot that. People were all fired up about the market, things moving fast, things moving quick, and just pulling the trigger when, even if they knew maybe they shouldn't, but there was that fear of missing out, right? And the fundamentals went out the window. So fundamentals, number one. You want to look at the future potential growth of a market. And pre-COVID, when I did my master's degree in real estate, Schulich School of Business, the whole conversation was density. Yeah, I'll talk about this forever, and I can go a million different directions. So stop me if I'm going off track. But density, okay? COVID threw that for a loop. It was the trajectory of market expectations changed because of a force majeure event. People wanted bigger backyards. They wanted to be further from the city because the amenities that came with city living evaporated. Okay, when you look at a market, you look at the fundamentals. You want to see job growth. You want to see transit. You want to see an investment on a municipal, provincial, and federal level. You want to see growth. Why does someone want to live there? Why is someone going to buy your house when you decide to sell it? Right? Why is someone going to want to rent that house from you? Why is that pre-con going to appreciate? Oh, day one pricing. I've bought property at the end of their cycle, pre-con at the end of their cycle, because I know it's a better buy, proportionately than some of the other ones, brand new launch that just come out too high. And people get convoluted. Oh, day one pricing, great, I'm going to make money. Not always. You got to look at the pricing and the fundamentals. But back to my thought. Sorry, I'll keep going.
Especially with the appreciation that's built in and all this stuff. No,
well, that's it, right?
There's so many
Biggest
aspects.
thing now is the risk. The developers are factoring in a bigger deal of risk because COVID brought more volatility. So, pre-con used to be more in line with resale, or at least a tick higher. But now, depending on the resale, especially the detached homes outside of the GTA, you're seeing a bigger risk factor that the developers, and especially the less sophisticated developers, attributing to those properties, and you're overpaying like crazy. Like it's insane. But people don't get that. So anyway, sorry, back to focus. What do I look for?
Like when you're evaluating an investment property or an investment opportunity, like what's your due diligence process? Like
what's that checklist looking
big
like?
picture.
Yeah,
There's big picture.
Do you look at the infrastructure proposals, planning, like the building of a highway, building of plazas?
Yes.
Yes.
So right now, like I look for density. Okay. So downtown core Toronto, number one, 100%. That's my number one. Okay. Vaughan, city, growth, density, a lot to come. Hamilton, Barrie, Oshawa, these nodes, right? That's what you need. That's where money's being invested, right? There's some markets like Innisfil, for example, or Georgetown, where you don't want to deploy capital there because what's coming other than just more real estate and what should be cheaper real estate? You got to look where there's activity and action and employment. Number one, how are people going to pay their mortgage and pay their rent? With their job. So where are their jobs? Where's the prospect of more jobs? Where does the rent profile make sense? Where are you going to get a good quality tenant, right? Who's renting in Thunder Bay? I don't know, maybe the odd professor or whatever at the local school. I don't know Thunder Bay. But Hamilton, you've got a lot of doctors because there's a lot of hospitals. There's a massive investment in the new LRT and infrastructure.
You got the university going.
The universities and colleges. You've got the waterfront development, which is going to be insane. You look at Hamilton's prospectus on real estate. There's a big push to build affordable housing. And the way Hamilton sees it is affordable housing should be affordable ownership, right? So there's going to be certain programs in place. And you look at things like that. So specific checklist, it's difficult because every investment opportunity is different. You've got pre-con, you've got cash flow, you've got different markets, and everything is different. So if you want to know, specifics, if you have specific questions about a specific market, I'll tell you. But you got to look long term, and you got to look at that specific market and what's coming and why people want to be there. Basically, transit, employment, rental profile, and like what? Just basically ask yourself, why do people want to live there? Like what's coming? Think of 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years.
So to me, that sounds like, as somebody who I guess isn't as well versed in this market, in this industry as I should be, and I'm sure there's a lot of people looking to make investments and buying a place for the future, whether to live in or to generate some positive cash flow and stuff. So for somebody like me, having to consider all that information is a bit daunting. It's a bit overwhelming. So what's your...
I'm a little overstimulated right now.
Yeah, I'm a little overstimulated right now. And it's not, the cigar isn't really helping right now. But what would you recommend to that person who might not be as savvy? Is it just to hire somebody like yourself who could be that advisor, who could be that consultant, who could really educate you on the... Because if I were to do it alone, like I wouldn't even know where to start.
It is daunting, and the magnitude of what you're doing is huge, right? So I think step one, like, we have more power in our cell phone now than we had in the first rocket to Mars. So do yourself a favor and just Google some stuff. Right. Just dabble. Okay. And there's a lot of conflicting arguments out there. You listen to 100 videos, you're going to get 100 different opinions. You read 100 articles, you're going to get 100 different opinions. So be specific in what you're looking at, but do some homework, like read, learn, educate yourself. And then yes, talk to the right people, right? We can dumb it down. We can make it advanced. We can match your level of understanding. We know these things inside and out. And the way I say to my team, if you can't explain something simply, then you simply don't know it well enough. So if I can't explain something to you simply, then I'm not doing my job.
Yeah.
I should be able to dumb certain things down and explain the inner working. So number one, you want an investment property. Well, let's talk about different markets. My picks would be, Hamilton, Barrie, Oshawa, Vaughan, and Toronto. So, what do you like? Do you think you may move in at some point? Well, maybe. I work downtown. Okay, so let's look at downtown, right? The east end of Toronto, insane. Tons of opportunity there. Parkland Lakeshore, massive. Downtown core, incredible. Just north, like the Forest Hill area, wow. Like there's a lot of little pockets within pockets that there's opportunity, right? So once we have big picture, we narrow it down from market. I'll back up. We talk about your goals, right? What's your plan? Is this something that you want to hold for 2 years and sell? Do you want it to be a little more liquid, or is this a long-term hold for the rest of your life and pay for your kids' education? Like, what are your goals? Once we figure out your goals, we can identify the appropriate opportunities, resale versus pre-con, house versus condo, and then kind of narrow down from there. So I think the biggest thing is, just like we've been talking about, everybody just wants an answer, like buy a condo in Hamilton at this intersection. But to get to that point for a particular buyer, it's a process. Yeah. Why? Right? And if you don't know why, if I just say, buy a condo in Hamilton at this intersection, you should be asking me why. Well, why? Well, I'll tell you about the employment, tell you about the developer, tell you about the deposit structure. I'll tell you about the length of until they break ground, and why you're just protecting your capital in a high inflationary environment, why that simply makes sense, why Hamilton's poised for growth, and the longer your money is tied up, the better. We can let interest rates normalize and blah, blah, blah. And we can get into the nitty gritty of why. And you'll be like, oh, okay, I'll take two. But as we go, as we discuss, it's a process. We narrow it down from there. So I figure out talk to someone, figure out your goals, figure out a market. And once you figure out a market, we narrow down on house, condo.
So I'm curious, are you guys familiar with the whole
all those things.
Proposal by the provincial government of Ontario to build Highway 413?
Which one's 413?
So 413 is going to be a highway that spans east to west, west to east, just north of the 407 between Jane and Kirby is where it starts, all the way to Milton. Like Brampton.
I haven't heard much about it for like a year now.
So it's going to be connecting and making accessible areas like Bolton, areas like Orangeville. So I'm curious if this proposal, I think it did get passed, but it's in for like the next 15, 20 years.
Connectivity is very important.
Yeah.
But, the prospect and outlook of what's to come, it's like, Elon Musk saying, we're going to have robots that are going to be maids in your house and like an Alexa, but it can also cook for you and clean for you. And, that's what we're working on at Tesla. Great. Their stock might creep up just a bit, but until it actually happens, or there's confirmation that it's going to happen, or there's studies that show that, yes, this will have the positive intended effect, it's not going to, improve. So, they've been they talked about extending the 427 for
Forever.
years.
Yeah.
It finally happened. And,
It's-
what did it do? Real estate went up as it went up, and the connectivity is great. But I wouldn't base your investment on one thing. So Orangeville, great. Maybe it'll be connected by 413. There's a lot of backlash about the 413 with the environmental impact, and the birds and the bees, and the appropriation of land,
farmers
right?
and all that agriculture. Yeah.
All that stuff. So, I mean, is it a great thing? Progress? Yeah, it's just like the green belt, right? Are they going to open up some green belt? Oh, maybe that'll be more valuable. But guess what? Where are the jobs? Where are the jobs?
Mm-hmm.
Still Toronto, still Hamilton, still Mississauga, still Vaughan, still Oshawa, right? So the jobs are still in those city centers for the most part.
Yeah.
The employment. Where's the quality of the education? Where's the graduates coming out of Waterloo and Kitchener, right? A lot of tech companies are looking out in that market and building things there because they want to keep that talent. We're such a special market, Toronto and the GTA. Like, we're so, I'm just so excited about what's to come. My point is, don't focus on one element. Don't get hung up on it, right? Like crypto. Oh, crypto's going to be the future, and look at it now. So don't get hung up on one thing. There's got to be more in that pot to defend a certain market, right? So Toronto's got a lot of checks, right? You say about the checks. Toronto checks a lot of boxes. Transit, boom, it's already there. Future development, boom, it's already there. Education, boom, it's already there. Employment, job, whatever, Fortune 500 headquarters, it's there. Connectivity, highways, it's there. Go for a beer after work, it's there. Right? Where are you going to go? Can you walk anywhere after work? Well, there's no employment in Orangeville. It's just a cheaper place to live. Everybody in Orangeville that lives in Orangeville commutes to Vaughan or Toronto.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? Like that's it. That's the point of Orangeville, is that it's further. So sure, it makes that commute a little bit quicker. So yes, they will appreciate. But what I'll tell you is, and an example I'll make is, let's say, it's a spillover of Toronto or markets. So if Toronto goes up 10%, Vaughan will go up 8%, Orangeville will go up 6%. Maybe with the 413, maybe 6.5%.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a nice little something, but I wouldn't invest in Orangeville because of the potential of a highway 6 years from now.
Right.
Right. And I think a lot of people get hung up on things,
yeah.
and, I know this is going to happen. That's how we buy stocks. That's how we invest in stocks. Oh, I know they're developing this new drug. I know they're, working on the self-driving car. I know this is going to happen. And you're confident in that prospect, and it could always go either way. Real estate through and through. Fundamentals, man, just fundamentals.
Right.
Like, why do people want to live in Orangeville? Well, it's a cheaper place to live than Toronto. If that's all you can afford, and you don't want to buy a condo in the core, you've got $800,000 to spend. You don't want to buy a condo in the core. You want better cash flow. We got to look at markets where you can buy a freehold, something, townhome or detached for $800K. Sure, maybe we explore Orangeville because that's where you want to deploy your capital. Your cash flow will be good. You'll still have renters because there's a rental profile that wants to live in Orangeville because they've got family there and they want to raise a family and they don't want to live in a condo and rent a condo. They can't afford to buy yet because it's difficult to buy and the barriers to entry are high. So you'll get a good tenant and you'll do just fine. Like, you'll do fine. I'm not saying don't buy. I love Orangeville. I'm just saying, just know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Right. I have clients sometimes release their properties and, I don't want to take this tenant. I don't like their profile. Their credit's not high enough. Well, you shouldn't have bought a house in, on the outskirts of Georgetown to invest in because you're not going to get a doctor or a lawyer because that's not it's not where they're going to be.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, I hope that all makes sense.
I
Like,
think
there's so
a big
much
lesson
there,
to be learned here, though.
I don't want to keep unpacking because eventually we got to.
It seems like to be a big lesson to be learned here from what you're saying. So from what I'm understanding is, when you're trying to make any sort of speculative play, it's important to just not go with public sentiment or based all. To your point, Nick, to put all your eggs in one basket. You really got to do your due diligence, because from what I'm hearing is everything is connected. It's multifaceted. There's multiple variables, and each variable has an impact on every other variable.
Sure.
And so you have to be able to make those connections and know those connections to, at the end of the day, make a proper investment decision.
Make it concise. It's that there's way too much to make it concise. Like, there's way too many factors there, and you gotta analyze. You gotta ask the right questions. You gotta do the right
and that's why
homework. Not
everybody succeeds, right?
We'll get there. We'll get to that point. And then there's also, you go too far, there's analysis paralysis, right? Yeah. Yep. Analysis paralysis. You look at too many things and then you can't make a decision. but you're thinking about 0.5% here and there. We don't have a crystal ball, but the fundamentals give us enough to know, what, Toronto will do well, Orangeville will do well. What do I prefer? Right? Or maybe I'll move into the one in Orangeville where I would never move into the one in Toronto because I'm planning to get married and have kids down the road. So there's personal things that go into it as well. That's
Speaking about important. Personal, I know you're also building your own place as well.
Yes, yeah, I know.
And there's a few things I wanted to talk about. What are the struggles about building your own place? Also, on the other end, it's when someone is looking to build their place, what are the components that go into it? What kind of issues have you run? Everyone thinks it's
crazy.
glamorous.
It's been
Everyone
a lot
thinks
of fun, but it's been a lot of stress.
It's a big project.
Talk about that. I know obviously you're building it. It's a project.
I think it comes down to understanding and having the right people in place, just like any other big decision or any other big undertaking. You have the right people and you feel confident about the decisions that you're making. So we feel really good. My wife and I are building a house. It's we're about a year in now. We haven't broken ground yet, but we're about a year in, so I can dive into that. But we're very confident in the team that we've put together and assembled where we're getting the right advice. I haven't built a house before. I know more than your average person, maybe because I've dealt with clients and other things, but I don't know a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I'm an open book. I'm willing to learn. I love to learn. So putting the right team in place is huge, and they make it a lot easier, more manageable, and easier to understand. So that's step one. But yeah, wow, what a process. Like the transaction of it, no problem. Bought an old bungalow, whatever. Right? I can handle that part. Development side, the architecture side's a lot of fun. Paying for it's not. The design elements a lot of fun. Paying for it's not. Right? Everything's more than
the delays not so fun.
Think it is. The delays not so fun. I mean, we're not in a massive rush, but we like to see progress. So
you said something about lumber, the cost of lumber going up.
The cost of lumber. So there's a lot of things I didn't know. Our architect, we told them what we wanted, and great architect David Small. I think they're out of Oakville, but they're really cool. They do some cool stuff, and we're really excited to be working with them. But you got to understand the roles people have. So the architect isn't thinking of my cost and my cost saving and being efficient. They're thinking of, how can I make this look exactly how Tyler and Brooke want this to look? How can I make this look unreal? And, obviously their stamps on it too. So they want it to be reflective of them and what they can do. Sure. Yeah. But for certain things that we wanted, we didn't have a consult at the time to say, well, just by raising that ceiling an extra foot's going to probably end up costing you an extra $100,000. Right? Wow. By having a family room on your second level and building over the deck is probably going to cost you an extra, X compared to the norm. Here's an alternative. Here's what we can find. They just did it exactly as we wanted, and we were thrilled. And then we get to the builder part, and he gives us a number, and we're like, whoa, that's a lot higher than we anticipated. Right? So now we go back to the architect and say, look, we didn't really, now we have our builder, and he's giving us our cost and breaking down the numbers of each proponent. We want to go back and backtrack, and we'd like to tweak these things and, still find value in a lot of what we're doing, but maybe we give up this to find that, give up that to find this, and we make concessions. So I think it's important. Again, everything, it's a process, a little bit of back and forth. It's been a blast. Your costs are going to be a little higher than you anticipate. Your timelines are going to be a little longer than you anticipate. Generally, you can submit your demo permit and build permit at the same time. So you don't demo until you're going to start building. Whitby is a special little case. I love Whitby, but it's a special little case. I'm not going anywhere out of Toronto, but we're going to be living in Whitby. I love the East. Love it. But you have to file for your demo permit, get your demo permit, demo the house, which we did last May.
Oh, wow.
Then file for your build permit. And then we were back and forth on the build permit. So timeline. We bought the property last December. Started the December 2021. December 2021. Excited, whatever. Started the design process early in the new year. Finally had our plans done by around April. Submitted for our demo permit. Got the demo permit. Approved the plans by April. Demoed in May. And then from May until December 11th, we were working on the permit and going back and forth. Waiting on our build permit. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finally got all the shit together. And we got our build permit on December 11th. And then we were just ready to say go. And my builder called me at 6:30 in the morning. The excavator was on its way, and
broke ground.
We were just about to break ground. Everything was good to go. Permits up on the fence, and everything's good. And this is after being demoed for so long. And he calls us and he said, guys, I'm really sorry to do this to you, but I just don't think, for the caliber of your house, I don't think we should be breaking ground this winter. The forecast looks cold. The winter and the cold isn't great to pour concrete because of the way it sets. It doesn't set as well in the winter. Yeah. So I don't want to compromise the integrity of your home. I think we should wait until May. So we said, okay, we trust your judgment. So now we've put it off. We're going to be breaking ground this May. So it's been a year and a half. It will be a year and a half since I bought the property, and you go through all the proper channels and you be as efficient as possible, which we have been, but there's unexpected things. Our permit took longer than expected. We should have broken ground in October and we would have been fine. And the concrete would have been poured in a better climate. We could have been framing throughout December and January. No issues there. But, that extra month, and with the Canadian weather, that extra month turned into an extra 6 months. And again, it's not the end of the world. We're not in a rush.
It's a learning curve.
We want to see progress, and it's learning. It's all learning, and we're having a blast learning. We're super thrilled, super excited. I'll have you guys by. Maybe we'll host the podcast here one time when it's all done. Come see me in 2 years. But Yeah, we're excited. Anything specific you want to know? Like,
I just think the biggest takeaway here is nothing ever happens according to plan.
Nothing happens.
Well, was it Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali, whatever, one of them, those boxer guys, they said everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Exactly.
Right? And I say that to my team too all the time. You have a plan, but you got to be adaptable.
This goes back to what you were saying about.
We didn't get our permanent time. You know what?
100%.
No problem. We're still thrilled. We're still excited. We change our plans.
Having the right contingencies in place to overcome
and that
all
gave us an ability to go back and look at our plans and say, is there anything we really want to change? And we found little things that we want to tweak. So it's
I'm a heavy believer of everything happens for a reason too.
Sure. Yeah. No, you know what? Well, you know what? You have to be, because you can't dwell on the shit that you can't change. You can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. And that's that. That was Andre 3000 said that one. I like that one. So
that sounds like something Marcus Aurelius would say. That's pretty deep, man. I like that one.
I don't know how many picnics he had. I don't know.
Listen, Tyler, we're getting looks from our producer M here.
There's two questions actually. One last question.
Okay, quick. I'll be quick.
If you're gonna have to tell us where the market's gonna be going in the next few years, where it's headed to, quick, less than like
2023 is going to be a stagnant year, okay? Because the uncertainty and interest rates, inflation, and
we're wrapping up, guys.
A bit of volatility. I'm going to fly. 2023 somewhat stagnant. The latest economic policy announcement, the narrative has shifted. That's the biggest thing. The narrative and the tone has shifted to being a lot more positive. I think it's the end of the interest rate hikes. Inflation's doing what it should do. Stagnant 2023. 2024 is going to be insane. 2025 is going to be even more insane. Like, that's what's coming. And, I can back all that up, but I don't have time to back it all up. Stagnant 2023, wicked opportunity, and then watch your investments in your money.
Here first.
The last question. Fast. The last question. This is what we always like to throw at the end.
Tell me.
If your life was a 10-chapter book, what chapter would you say you're on right now?
Oh, that's a good one. Wow. Oh, what chapter? That's a really good
We like to throw off our guests at the end.
10-chapter book? Ah, shit, man. Halfway through two. It's a lot left to do. I'm just barely halfway through the second chapter. Maybe third. Maybe end of the second chapter. Yeah. We're just turning the page into the third chapter.
And then what do you need to do to get to that chapter 10? Like, what are your goals? Like, what makes Tyler McLay tick? Like, is it generational wealth? Is it like, what's your purpose? What's your motivation?
Just being absolutely the best we can be and actually impact people's lives in the transaction of real estate. Like, I truly, genuinely mean that. My team knows that. And that's why we do what we do, because we truly care. We truly love making impact. And I think it's just growing the scale of how often we have the ability to do that, to have the honor and pleasure of representing some really good people, buying, selling, investing, and leasing real estate. So, that's the plan. I mean, big picture, there's lots of room to grow. Business goals, planning goals, development goals, coaching goals, all these different things where we want to take our business and our brand. But for now, we're still in the build phase of the team. Lots to educate. I just want to educate, basically.
That's so powerful because, and this is something we talk about all the time. It's like, if you're 20 years old, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, and you feel like you're not where you want to be in life, take it from this gentleman's example. Tyler McLay, he's how old are you, Tyler?
28.
You're 28 years old. This guy's got his whole life ahead of him. He's had so much success, and yet he still thinks that he's on chapter 2. So I think there's a lot to be learned from what you just said.
Scratching the surface. Last one for you. Bill Gates said we underestimate we overestimate what we can achieve in a year, but we underestimate what we can achieve in 10. And I think it's important to have a long-term vision, whether that's investing in real estate, whether that's your goals in business, whether that's your goals in life, dating, family, whatever. Think long-term, because time goes on. Like, think long-term. That's it. Don't stress yourself out.
Shout out to Tyler McLay. Shout out to the team.
Thanks, guys.
Shout out to Real Estate. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks so much for coming, man.
Thanks, man. I hope we covered some topics. And I know I covered ramble, but if anybody wants to reach out, they can, by all means.
And where can people find you for real estate advice? If they're looking for a house for an investment, like, where do they go to find you?
Website, tylermclay.com. Just Google me, Tyler McLay. Like, we're everywhere. So just Google me, Billboard, King and Spadina. But yeah, just Google me, Instagram, Tyler McLay Realty Group. Anyone on my team is well versed, well prepared to answer your questions. But yeah, just Google me, Tyler McLay.
Absolutely.
1C, MCLAY.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks so much.
Cool. Thanks, guys. What a pleasure. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, bro.
Appreciate it.
That's a wrap.
Thanks a lot. That's a wrap. Thanks, guys.